Working class movement and the formation of AITUC. The trade union movement of India forms the study of the working class, their demands, responses of their owners and redressal measures of the government. Now slowly and steadily, the people of India were against Britishers because of the atrocities, because of the subjugation to humility, slavery. People were not getting proper price for their produce. The working class had to work for unlimited hours in a very poor working conditions. And this in a way created resentment among the masses. And people started to revolt. People started to see unions as a way to take out their anger. Now, in spite of the drain of wealth from India, the British apathetic attitude, the factories grew on the soil. So Britishers were already taking out the wealth from India through gold, through human labor. A lot of exploitation was happening. Still, new factories were being set up. The cotton mills in Bombay, the jute mills and the tea industry grew up. So the Britishers' objective was to set up as many factories in India, because for the factories to run you need raw material, and there was abundant raw material and labor in India. The poor Indian mass got employment in these factories as workers because Indian labor was cheap. People were ready to work for some money. Low wages, long working hours in unhygienic conditions, exploitation at the hands of native and foreign capitalists made the conditions more miserable. So people were now getting very low wages. They were working for long hours and in very unhygienic conditions. And this is why the people started to go against the British. The first Factory Act of 1881 and the Acts of 1891, 1909, 1911 could not end the plight of the working class people. Even these factory acts were not helping the working conditions of the people. The Russian Revolution of 1917 exerted tremendous influence over the working class people of the world. Now, Russian Revolution of 1917 was a trigger that showed the world that if the government is oppressing, if the government is against the welfare of the masses, the working class, there will be a revolt and the government will have to back up. By the efforts of leaders like N.M. Joshi, Lala Lajpat Rai and Joseph, the All India Trade Union Congress was established in 1920. AITUC was the first union which was officially formed in 1920 to take up the issues of the people working in factories, industries. People had come together to form a union of voices. Nationalist leaders like C.R. Das and V.V. Giri also joined their hands with the union. With the emergence of socialist and communist ideas, the left wing within the Indian National Congress became active, and the leaders like Subhash Chandra Bose, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru also presided over the session of AITUC. So there were two types of ideologies within the Congress, the socialist and the communist. The communists were called the left wing. And since the presence of communists was there in Congress, leaders like Subhash Chandra Bose and Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru presided over these sessions. Now, with the recognition of trade unions by the Trade Union Act of 1926, the trade union movement in India gained the momentum. Now, the trade unions got recognition. There was an act called Trade Union Act of 1926. The Fourth Congress of Communist International sent a message to AITUC to overthrow capitalism and imperialism. Capitalism is domination of people who are in power over the people who are underprivileged in terms of exploiting them and taking money, making capital. Imperialism is dominating over a weak or an inferior person or a country or a region by a person or a region who is in power, who is more powerful. For example, Britishers were over India as imperialistic power. Now the left wing within the AITUC also became very active. So there was another left wing within AITUC. The revolutionary group wanted to affiliate the AITUC with Red Labor Union, framed at Moscow. In the power struggle, the liberal leader N.M. Joshi left the AITUC. Since AITUC was getting to the more left and wanted to associate itself with international left-wing parties, the liberal leaders like N.M. Joshi left AITUC and formed another organization called Indian Trade Union Federation. Under the leftist direction, the AITUC launched vigorous programs against the capitalist classes. It foreshadowed a socialist state in India with socialization and nationalization of means of production. It organized meetings for protecting the freedom of speech, association, participation in national struggle. So now the AITUC was dominated by the left-wing parties. The Communist Party also flared up the flame. Though the government passed several acts to satisfy the workers, still they carried on their program of strike and protest. The trade union activities were so rampant that in 1928 Viceroy Lord Irwin arrested the prominent leaders and brought them to Meerut jail. So now the Britishers were getting back to the leaders of trade unions. After trial, S.A. Dangi, Muzaffar Ahmad, Joglekar, Spratt, etc. were given transportation or rigorous imprisonment. Now this aroused worldwide sympathy for union leaders. People were now more supportive of these leaders because they were subjected to imprisonment. However, it hurled a terrible blow on the trade union activities in India. Now the leftists and the rightists joined their hands and defended the case. Since the Britishers started to take actions and few of the leaders were arrested and subjugated to punishment, the movement somewhere got deterred. During the National Cooperation Movement, the British government suppressed the trade union leaders with iron hand. The Britishers were against these leaders because they wanted to fight against the British might, which British were not in a position or were ready to listen to. The Socialist Party, formed in 1934, wanted to cement the coherence between the moderate and the radical trade union. So there was a Socialist Party which was formed in 1934, and they wanted unity between moderate and radical trade unions. During the popular government between 1937-1938, the trade unions increased to 296. During Quit India movement, the trade union movement went on as usual. The nationalist leader failed to capture the AITUC, but the communists had their hold over it. After independence, the trade unions are performing their rules as usual. So we still have trade unions, we still have organizations within the labor organizations which support the people working in these industries. And that's a good thing, that's a positive sign.